Muted. Hi, I'm just getting everything sorted out. So we're still a couple minutes away from starting the webinar. So I see we've got a couple attendees here. So just bear with us as we kind of get stuff set up. I'm going to put myself back on mute.
Shoot.
Hi, everyone. If you're here a little bit early, we're just working out some technical stuff. So we're going to be quiet for a couple minutes while we're kind of sorting that out. But thank you for joining us. I'm going to put myself back on mute. But yeah, thanks for being here.
Hey, Calista, it doesn't look like I can spotlight anyone who's not a host.
Oh, okay. So what does that mean?
I think it means that it will just make the big screen whoever's talking, depending on people's view.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be too big of a deal. Once you start to screen share, it's going to kind of highlight whoever's speaking, I believe.
Okay. Real quick, panelists, do you have an option to start your video feed?
I do.
Because you're the host?
And I do too. This is Barry, but when I click on it, it tells me it's disabled but I see it as an option.
Okay. Let's see if we can figure that out.
I don't see how I'm going to get video. Will I just be talking and it'll just go to me? Or my option or hide non-video participants and hide self-view?
That is a good question. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're just taking a couple minutes to kind of work out some technical stuff. This is the first time we've used the webinar format on Zoom, and we did a test run, but there's still a couple little things that we're working out. So just bear with us. We'll get started in a couple minutes here. Yeah, I don't know why it's not allowing you to show your video.
Yeah, it says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Okay. So Melissa, I'm gonna make Melissa, you're the host.
Yeah, it looks like it. Here, I'm going to switch it back to you.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure why this is happening. When we tested it, we were all able to show our videos. So we might just have to do it
With voices.
with voices. Yeah, we might not have a video feed, but we have a presentation, so we can follow along with the slides. So that might be what we have to do if we can't get the video working.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I could do something on my end, but I can't, so.
Yeah, I think we might just have to do that. We might just have to go through the presentation without video feed. I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening there.
I don't know. Can you add Kenny as a panelist?
Yes, Kenny and Jennifer are now panelists. Also, if you're just popping in, we're just getting some technical difficulties sorted out. So thank you for bearing with us as we navigate a Zoom webinar for the first time. No stress. My heart rate's not like through the roof or anything.
I'll check my audio. I've got audio, right?
Okay. Yep. Jennifer
Yep,
has
you're good.
audio. Yeah, let's just do a quick audio check and then we'll just, we can jump into the presentation at 4 o'clock. And Melissa, I'm going to make you the host again so that as more panelists check in, you can make sure that they have audio. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, great.
Hey, Callista, the last time I did this in webinar format, there's a participant, there's like, it shows two little bodies or little heads. And if you click on that, I think that's where you can turn on or off under, but you have the list of panelists and attendees. And I think you can turn on or off the cameras under there, I think. They change this all the time, is the problem.
Yeah, so I'm seeing those options. There's like the little red camera with a line through it, but I can't turn the feed on for anyone. And I don't understand why. And even if I click on the little dots, you know, the little blue dots.
Yeah.
I can't enable your video feed.
You might not be the,
Oh, sorry,
unfortunately,
not this anymore.
you might not be the administrator of this.
Lista, I tried logging in and out, but it logged me back in under the partnership. Should I try that one more time?
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. I think that video feeds are unfortunately not going to happen. So what will happen, Lindsay, is it'll just show that be ham, be kind, be strong while you're talking, but it will mostly be focused on the presentation slides.
Well, why don't I, it's 4 o'clock. Why don't we just move, like, that sounds good. Okay.
Great. Melissa, can you please give me screen share ability and I'll start the presentation?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to make you the host for that again, though.
Okay.
Or, just kidding.
Since I'm the only one that has video feed.
Okay, try that. Try the screen share.
Again, thank you all for bearing with us. We are having so much fun with our first Zoom webinar and figuring out all of the little ways that it's different from a normal Zoom meeting. So we have a little bit of a change in plan in that we're not, it looks like we can't get our video feeds to work, but we do have a presentation. So we're gonna go ahead and get that started. And yeah, thank you all for being here. I'm gonna start that and we'll get everything kicked off here. Just kidding.
I'm just trying to see if Erica and the mayor made it in yet, so I can add them.
Yep, I see Erica is here and I see Skip is here. And yeah. Cool. All right. So it is 4 o'clock. If you are just joining us, we decided to try a Zoom webinar instead of a Zoom meeting. And we're just having a couple little technical difficulties, but we're going to go ahead and get the meeting started now. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to start our presentation and I'm going to pass it off to Barry Dykeman, our board president, to go ahead and get things going.
Hi, everybody. This is Barry here. And welcome to our first quarterly downtown neighborhood meeting of 2021. And like most meetings for the last 12 months, we're doing it virtually. And like like most meetings, as the technology evolves, we swim upstream and learn as we go. So I appreciate everybody's patience as we work through this without the video. We are going to have a presentation to go along with it. My full name is Barry Dykeman. I'm the board president of the Downtown Bellingham Partnership. I joined the board in middle of 2018 and have been in the role of president since last summer. I joined the organization shortly after returning to Bellingham after 8 years away living in Maine. Because when I moved back here, I wanted to help encourage more. One of my goals was to help encourage more downtown living options, which I feel is one of the keys to having a thriving and healthy downtown. And that's been my focus here on this board, and then on some other things I'm involved with in the community right now. As a matter of housekeeping, as you know, we've gone over at the very beginning for those of you who are on the call, the meeting is set up in a webinar format, which means that all the attendees will be muted and only those who are speaking will be unmuted when they speak. This will help us keep the meeting on track as we only have an hour. So if you have questions come up while you're muted, feel free to use the chat function that's being monitored by our staff. If you'd like to if you have something you want to ask, or if you have a comment. Hold on here. Our meeting will start out by hearing from the partnership staff, who will fill us in on what our organization has been working on over the past year and some highlights from our 2021 work plans. We'll also hear from our guests and a bit of Q&A with Mayor Fleetwood and Erica Lautenbach from the Whatcom County Department of Health. And we'll then hear from the restaurant Cardinal owner, Skip Williamson. There's a lot for us to cover this afternoon, so I'm going to get us started. Alice, do you want to kick off with the staff updates?
Sure. I was going to say it's good to see everybody, but I guess it's good to hear people's voices, and I know that you guys are here. So thank you for being here. I also want to thank Mayor Fleetwood and Erica and Skip for coming today. We really appreciate that you guys took the time, because I know you guys are all really busy. So thank you. Soon after the lockdown last year, we as a team started to realize that our own plans for the year were going to really change. When we went from planning our events, which we usually do, and other activities that really involve a lot of people gathering and enjoying the downtown district. And, we just had to switch right into response efforts, which I'm sure you'll hear more about from the staff. I do want to say, I am so proud of this team. They're just amazing people, and they've just really switched gears so quickly and adapted and took on the new roles that we needed them to do. So I've been super impressed by that. And, it's been stressful, like so many of us. You don't have your usual office, and we have to learn how to work remotely, but we figured it out. And so in the midst of what was happening downtown, what we were doing to support businesses, we also, had our own reality check that we were not going to be able to do those events, like I said, and that is a lot of our income. So we were kind of scrambling and like, oh man, what are we going to do? Because people really need us right now, and our own, revenues are really getting impacted. But thankfully, throughout the year, we were able to get some PPP money, an EIDL grant, and other grants coming from the city and the county, which really helped us immensely and allowed us to continue to do the outreach and the sharing of information and connecting with business owners and staying plugged in so we could really get businesses the help they need. We were also very thankful for the city of Bellingham and our partnership throughout the year. That has been super helpful as well. So thank you. So now we're here, and I think that we're really glad to be able to feel like we're coming into the new phase of being, quote unquote, back to normal. And our businesses are starting to get back on their feet. And it just feels like, especially with spring coming on, like we're kind of entering a new, really, I feel optimistic and hopeful phase. So I'll wrap up. I know we have a lot to cover. So I just want to say, personally, I'm feeling really optimistic with the vaccines happening and the federal and state funds coming, and you know, all that is just, it's going to really make everything turn around. So thank you for showing up. We're glad you're here, and we really appreciate everyone's commitment to downtown. It's good to know that we're not alone. We're all in this together. So next up, we'll hear from our program director, Lindsay Payne Johnstone. Lindsay, take it away.
Thank you, Alice. Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay. I am the program director here at the partnership. I've been with our organization for roughly 13 years. I oversee our events and programs. So Downtown Sounds, Wine Walk, Art Walk, various holiday events. I facilitate our place activation efforts. So helping to lead our design committee, coordinating pop-up programming in spaces like the Commercial Street Plaza, alley activation projects, things of that nature. I'm also involved in a lot of our neighborhood outreach efforts. So I help facilitate the Bellingham Bar and Restaurant Network, helping to manage our retail committee and some broader retail industry roundtable sessions and other general neighborhood support. I wanted to touch on a few 2020 highlights in these areas. So late spring, early summer, we were able to hire 2 local artists who are Western grads through the mayor's 2019 Small and Simple grant to install a mural in the alley behind the Commercial Street parking garage. The mural is really colorful and visible from adjacent sidewalks and streets and just creates a lot of vibrancy in that area. So we were really excited that we were able to do that kind of early on in the pandemic. We worked closely with the city to assist restaurants, bars, and cafes in their efforts to expand outside seating, to weatherize their patios. We provided assistance mostly and guidance in like permitting and access to materials and infrastructure. We also worked with the group of businesses on Holly Street to create the temporary pedestrian space that was known as the Holly Street Plaza. Art Walk took place in a few different formats. In April, we coordinated a virtual art walk using social media platforms. And although that event was really successful and fun, we did end up pausing our art walks in the summer just due to capacity and resources. In the fall, it picked up again, and we are adding in-person art walk and, you know, kind of highlighting various streeteries and parklets and the pop-up vending that was happening in the Holly Street Plaza and the Commercial Plaza. And looking at 2021, we're expanding our walk into what we're calling First Fridays. They're a celebration of our vibrant city center and the small businesses which contribute to our unique character. So the new event format provides opportunities for all businesses to be included, whether they're featuring an artist or not, under categories like retail, food and beverage, happenings, one-time events, stuff like that. And lastly, we produced a virtual Downtown Sounds. In addition to wanting to do something impactful for the community, we really wanted to raise funds for our independently owned stages. We're also able to pay local musicians and local production staff, and we did raise money for 3 music venues in our city center. By working with BTV, bars and restaurants were also able to host watch parties and collaborate with the event in that way. So we're really excited to be exploring various scenarios for Downtown Sounds this summer, and we're very optimistic that we will be able to make something happen in person safely back on Bay Street, hopefully. So with that, I'd like to introduce Kenny Austin, who is our landscaping supervisor.
Thank you, Lindsay. I'm Kenny Austin, landscape maintenance lead with the Downtown Bellingham Partnership. I've been with the organization for just over a year now. My job entails working directly with downtown business, City of Bellingham Public Works, and local organizations to ensure downtown Bellingham is both safe and beautiful. Coming up this April, the partnership is emphasizing to spruce up downtown so we can get ready for summer. Personally, I'll be adding about 50 plants to the in-ground beds, and we're going to have a total of 33 of those beautiful hanging baskets installed about the first week of May. And then there's some info you can get on our website for things you can do. One being, we've got a great link for the local businesses who might want to pressure wash in front of their business on the sidewalk that has a lot of information regarding being compliant with city code and how you can actually borrow the city's equipment to get the job done. And lastly, we're putting together a pre-Funk Earth Day It'll be the week before actual Earth Day on the 17th of April. We're looking for volunteers to come out and do a lot of weeding, a lot of spreading of mulch and compost, and doing a lot of planting. So if you're interested in getting involved in that, go to our website, downtownbellinghampartnership.com, and look forward to having you join. And I will introduce our retail advocate, Jennifer Walters.
Jennifer, are you here? I think you might be on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Take
Can
it
you
away.
see me? Can you hear me and see me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, got both going on then. Okay, well, I'm the first one with the video up. I was saying that I could have told you I was wearing a ball gown and tiara. I'm not. Hi, I'm Jennifer Walters. I'm the retail advocate with the Downtown Partnership. Brief overview of what I do is to assist and help connect building owners, landlords, and developers with potential and viable operators for vacancies downtown. And properties, so basically to help fill downtown with a nice mixed use, kind of a matchmaker of sorts. Those of you that have met me, that's kind of a good title for me. I also focus on street presence and storefront design to help improve visibility and enhance the surrounding area, including design inside and merchandising. I'm a resource for entrepreneurs that are exploring business ideas, as well as supporting and being a resource for established businesses and new businesses. So I support business, and that's what I want to do. I want to talk about a couple of things that we had for programming in 2020. In the very beginning of the pandemic, what we did was we came up with the Be Strong campaign. And that came about just to have a strong messaging about strength, resilience, and unity of our community. Very well received. I'm sure you've seen it around town. We've got it on posters, banners, stickers, cones. We were able to put it on blankets. People very much embraced that marketing and that moniker and on social media. And it did create unity. And it was great to see some businesses downtown take it upon themselves to actually cover their windows with the Be Strong logo. RMC Architects downtown for one, and also the bus terminal fill their windows with the Be Strong campaign logo. It was just also just a great way to unite people. Secondly was the Green Cone program, and I'm sure you've all seen the green cones. That was a collaboration with the city of Bellingham that was able to purchase those. With Fairhaven, we distributed over 200 cones to businesses. What they were intended to be was a beacon to show people who was open and who was not, especially at the beginning. Some people could stop and pick up food. Some business had very limited hours. So the cone not only was a beacon for consumers to show who was open, especially in the dark hours of winter, but also pickup areas for delivery drivers, anything that we could help do to just give a visual beacon for consumers to be downtown. And on that consumer, early we did some safety signage, and this was to create consumer confidence in the shopper coming in and have a unified message downtown that people could look for and see: masks required, social distancing, occupancy. Obviously, as the pandemic went on, more signage was created, especially by the health department, which was fabulous. But it was nice to be able to get that kicked off. We've created some amazing partnerships throughout the entire county during this, and hopefully we'll keep those going. I was lucky, and all of our staff and everyone, to work with so many organizations around the county to figure out solutions and how can we assist our, our business owners, the people shopping, get commerce back, create economic vitality again. So it's been just really great building all the relationships as well. From the very beginning of COVID, business owners had to become very creative and innovative, challenges that they'd never met before. It was amazing to see them move out of their comfort zone. There's a lot of business owners on this meeting that know that. It was very difficult with staffing, having to scale back on product, bring in more product, set up marketplaces. Some people had never done online. It was amazing to see. And I can tell you, and my staff will agree, there were tears a lot of times just seeing how resilient and adaptable that people became to survive. We did not save all the businesses downtown, but the good news is we had more businesses open downtown than close in 2020 and the beginning of 2021. I think it's very important that I read this list to you. If you don't know these businesses, and if I forget one, I apologize, or if I say it wrong, each one of these businesses has opened during a global pandemic, and they are alive and well, and I would like to read those off. All That Jazz, Art of a Mead, Bar 542, Bellingham Axe, Carnal, Comrade, Evolve Espresso and Provisions, Flat Stick Pub, Geheim Gallery, Good to Go Meat Pies, Chuck's Tap House, K-Pop Chicken, Locust, Lopez Family Mexican Restaurant, Laura Keat, Miraculous Braids and Beauty, Necco Cat Cafe, RX Love, Seven Spice, Snowy River, Storia Cucina, and Warnigan Thrift. So hopefully that shocks you and makes you very happy and hopeful. We have lots of new businesses that are already in the process of opening for 2021. So we've got lots of hope on the horizon, and I look forward to assisting anyone that also wants to open a new business. I am going to now introduce our wonderful marketing manager, Ms. Callista Klein.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Jennifer. You might have already seen my face if you showed up a couple minutes early. For a while, we were stuck on my video feed. But anyway, I'm the marketing manager for the Downtown Bellingham Partnership. And I've been with the organization for just about 2 years. So I got 1 year of kind of a normal year of operations and events. And then I got 1 year of COVID events and adjustments and everything. So it's been a really, it's been really fun. Well, it's been very, it's been a great learning experience, I'll put it that way. But anyway, yeah, so as marketing manager, I have my hand in a lot of different buckets. I manage most of our communications channels, from social media to the monthly communications that we send out. I also maintain our website. I manage our marketing interns. I assist with our volunteer program. And I also design the collateral and materials for the Downtown Bellingham Partnership. So I have my hand, like I said, in a lot of different buckets, and it's been wonderful getting to work so closely with so many different team members. I just have to say real quickly before I jump into my spiel that this is an amazing team to be a part of, and I'm very proud to work with such amazing people. So thinking about 1 year ago, around this time, as COVID was just becoming a reality in our downtown community, we were kind of forced with the task of defining the Downtown Bellingham Partnership role in this pandemic. As an organization that was known for our events and for our business support, we really made the decision that we wanted to be that point of communication and to really communicate in a time of uncertainty what was happening in the downtown core. So the first step that we took towards that was to create a Google map that we updated daily. We called it our Downtown Now map, and we developed it to help residents know what services were available downtown, and also for businesses to communicate to all of the viewers who are using this map what additional services they were offering, what their hours were, if they were closed. And it became a really powerful tool, especially for the first few months of the pandemic, before we all kind of adjusted and found our different ways to figure out how a business was open. Kind of along that same line, we launched an online marketplace to help support the retailers who were now having to transition from brick and mortar in-person sales to an online sales platform. And as Jennifer mentioned, some of these retailers have never had an online sales platform before, and this is really our way to help support them and to highlight those retailers who were doing such a good job of adjusting to the changing circumstances. So at downtownbellingham.com/marketplace, we have a seasonal collection of different items from retailers around town. And through the marketplace, it's hosted on our website, but it takes you directly to the retailer site. So all of the purchases and all the sales go directly to that small business. And then continuing on, we decided that we really needed sort of a rallying cry for downtown Bellingham. And building off of our Be Kind campaign, we developed Be Strong, as Jennifer mentioned. And we created a community toolkit for any restaurant, or sorry, any business or any resident who wanted to join in and kind of rally behind that phrase. So we printed off a bunch of posters that folks could come and pick up, or they could print at home if they were sheltering in place. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out that we have those posters available in the lobby of the Crown Plaza building at 114 West Magnolia Street. So if you want a poster, you can stop by there. We restock it regularly, or you can drop me an email or leave your email in the Q&A, and I'll touch base with you after the meeting and get you your Be Strong poster. I'm running out of time. So again, community newsletter, regular communications, Downtown Bellingham Partnership, we really wanted to make sure that we were communicating regularly with our constituents. So throughout the summer, when COVID was still very new, we sent out a weekly newsletter. We just tried as much as possible to share good news that we were seeing around downtown and what businesses were really rising to the challenge and what residents were really supporting their neighbors. And it was just such a nice thing to send out week after week and know that we were the organization that was highlighting the good deeds we saw downtown. Now we switched back to a monthly newsletter format. We do one a month for general community, and then we also do one a month for small business specific topics. So if you're interested in signing up for that newsletter, either of them, you can go to Downtown Bellingham, or again, you can drop your email in the Q&A and I will touch base with you after the meeting. And now we are working on the Bring Your Own Blanket campaign to continue supporting outdoor dining during the winter. You can see that photo up there on the slide of the two gentlemen with their sign. We did a really fun street style photo shoot where we just went to different patios around downtown and asked folks why it was that they were still bundling up in blankets and putting on their puffy coats and their scarves and their hats and still going out to grab a beer or grab a dinner, even as the temperatures were dropping. And we were really happy to find that a lot of residents in Whatcom County were fully on board with that message. And I've seen patios, full all winter long. Also, as part of that campaign, we created a covered and heated patio list in downtown Bellingham, and that was the most viewed page on our website for the last couple of months. And so it's just, again, it's reaffirming that the community is all about supporting our local businesses and is willing to, again, bundle up and head out when it's cold. And I'm just about to wrap up. Looking forward for the next year, I'm just really, really excited to start welcoming visitors back into our city center and to get some vibrancy going downtown. It's a really, I really, really love working in downtown Bellingham. I love the community and I love the people. And I'm just really excited to kind of having us all be able to come together safely again. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Barry, who I believe is going to introduce our next guests.
Thank you, Callista. I want to say thank you to the whole staff. As we all heard, just done incredible work responding to the uncertainties and the variables that were just thrown at them on the daily from the pandemic. So just on behalf of myself and the entire board, I'm just incredibly proud of the work you've done, and I want to thank you all for that. Next up is our first guest, Mayor Seth Fleetwood. We had the mayor speak last year at our March 2020 DNA meeting, which was soon after he'd been elected. He had a new job, which under any circumstances takes some getting used to, but then he also had the COVID-19 crisis to navigate as well. Mayor Fleetwood, welcome back. We look forward to hearing a bit about the year, how the year has been for you, but also hearing about your thoughts on recovery for the downtown neighborhood, and hoping that you can address these, and we'll see if we have some time for a couple of questions after that.
Thank you, Barry. Can you hear me? It's nice to be with you all. this organization. I seem to recall two events. One might have been, maybe it was in December, before I was mayor, but I remember there was something downtown on Cornwall, right across from the Leopold. I remember that event. I thought that was a downtown partnership event. And then, of course, I remember the one you just referenced. That was a really fun meeting. I enjoyed that. And I was kind of sad that we didn't get to do that more last year. But so be it. I enjoyed running into a bunch of you on a Friday. I think it was January 29th, actually. I don't know why I remember that date, but Friday, January 29th at the, it was a going away party for somebody. And that was a nice little surprise at the Southside Bar. So what a year. I share people's enthusiasm for a more hopeful time coming forward. I'm feeling that too. I'm sensing it from a lot of people, actually. I think it's a mood in the community. Juxtaposed with today was an execution of an operation to end the encampment at Jerry Field. So today's been a tough day. I wish I had more time to reflect and put together some more prepared remarks for all of you today, but I've been distracted with this operation. Happy to answer questions any of you might have in a bit relating to the issue of housing and homelessness in our community. But as we all know, it's been very prominent in recent months. So today has just been dealing with that, and I've been dealing with some just absolutely soul-sapping text messages from a particular individual who has my cell number, and just, oh my goodness gracious, hurling one insulting remark after another. You would think I'm the devil incarnate. And we're actually trying to do a lot of good things relating to housing in this community. When I think of the Bellingham, the downtown partnership, the downtown Bellingham partnership, I'm always, I have a good feeling. And I think that that's in large part because downtown is one of many things, actually, but one of the prominent issues that I really want to see us make progress on, and I'm excited about. Throughout the course of the last year, there's been a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear, a lot of concern and worry, all these natural things that so many people are feeling. And I've had conversations with folks whose fear and anxiety relates to the future of downtown. And share with me pushback if well, I suspect I won't feel pushback from this group, but if this is Pollyanna-ish. But I tell people that the fundamental dynamics are such, I'm quite confident of this in this part of the world, between private property and the system we have, the economic system, the capitalistic system, and the constitutional right of every single individual to travel wherever they want, no restriction on the right of people to move, all the laws against exclusionary zoning, they all add up to, and then the prominence of the Pacific Northwest, this region, it all absolutely assures that there's going to continue to be people flocking to this region and to Bellingham. I think the prospects for downtown, and we can certainly catalyze this with our intentional behavior and create synergies. But I think that with the right vision for downtown, and the right public-private partnerships, there's going to be in the coming decade an explosion downtown, a good explosion of growth, and I'm excited about it. There was an interesting article in the New York Times I read last week, and they were talking about lessons learned from Pompeii and Mount Vesuvius. And they had a academic making all the observations about connections between the two and what happened with disasters. And they pointed out that the emperor at the time dedicated enormous amounts of money to infrastructure projects that had the effects of considerable building happening that employed people and that gave people housing, and that created a retail revolution, as they referred to it. And it got me thinking, reading this article about the prospects of downtown. And if we do it right and have market rate housing, I'd be interested in getting your feedback on this. I've probably expressed this before, but I think there's an opportunity to take between potential federal funding, some stimulus money, some money that we have available that's loosely, broadly authorized, with the right private partners to build some exciting buildings downtown, some tall buildings that figure out a way to deal with the affordability gap, and relatively small units with glorious views in every direction. Just one thought that jazzes me a lot, and increasing density in downtown. And then following through with some of our greenways plans with building public parks and plazas downtown as we increase density. It could just be a really exciting time, and I'm enthused about it. In the nearer term, I look forward to collaborating with all of you on these issues of outdoor dining and continuing the conversation about what we do regarding street closures. I know when we closed things up, there was in fact, Lindsay, you valiantly made real effort, and I know you collaborated with, among others, Darby at the city in trying to stand something up more robustly during the winter time. I think for a lot of reasons, I understand why that didn't happen, but think of all the things that we have done relating to that. So I'll be interested in your thoughts as it relates to creating more permanence around street closures. I know that's a mixed blessing because there's always going to be a constituency, an owner who might have a different view on that, but I'll be very fascinated to hear your sense of people that live and work downtown and their desires for more permanent street closures, if even seasonal. So,
Hey, Seth.
Oh, am I going too long?
Yeah, this is Barry. You're actually, we do need to move to questions.
Oh, dear Lord, I'm embarrassed. Well,
oh, no. Your last two topics there were lined up perfectly with two questions that we had. If you'd be willing to, I could read these off to you. That came from some of the attendees.
How long was I supposed to talk?
You were doing just fine.
Okay.
No. So the one question that came up from that was submitted to us, but it's also been asked of me directly, is in relation to the restaurants operating in the right of way, and specifically the question is, what consideration has the city considered to allow this to happen through the summer and fall, possibly permanent? And I think subtext to that is, in speaking with some of the restaurant owners over the last 6 or 7 months, they're very appreciative of what the city's done, but they're looking for some long-term certainty, so they can make an investment or not make an investment, or determine what level of investment they are going to make. So if you could speak to that, then I have one other question for you.
We're open to it. the decisions that we made around these questions were very much done in collaboration with you folks. So I'm open to it. I guess the question is going to be in detail. What are you thinking and where? And I think I can say confidently that probably permanent closure of Holly Street, and maybe we've all agreed upon this, that permanent closure of Holly Street is something that's probably not off, is probably off the table. I'm open to sort of seasonal consideration, and I'd be interested in hearing if you have an opinion on that. But the short answer to your question is I want to hear more. It'd be interesting to hear what detailed plan you might be thinking about. So please share away. Maybe we can get a little meeting with whomever wants to join, but the city team together, and Lindsay, and just sit down and talk, have a cup of coffee and figure it out. There's enough room with, well, hopefully we'll be vaccinated soon, and but I'm open to it.
Okay, we're definitely interested in putting together a small work group and sitting down and addressing that with you. The last question I have for you revolves around, I think it's been talked about before, a vacancy, some sort of a vacancy tax for it looks like we have some buildings in town, just since I remember in the early 90s, that have just basically sat vacant or more or less vacant. So looking at the tools in your toolbox for addressing that, if you've thought of that.
I have thought about it. It came up, I can't recall what meeting it was. Yeah, I'm in like hundreds, if not thousands of meetings. But it came up rather prominently, maybe at a city council meeting a few weeks ago. And we were talking about this issue. What I'm inclined to do as it relates to that is put together another work group. We've got some people in planning who have some thoughts that they could share about that. That might be another topic where it would be worthwhile to get some folks on your team and sit down and talk about it. I support, by some means, incentivizing improvements in those vacant buildings and trying to identify, there might be some unique tailored actions and use of our toolkit for individual situations. I can imagine that being the case. And if you have any examples to offer of another municipality that has an ordinance of this kind, please share it with me.
Okay.
Do you know of another city that
I believe it has been done. Yeah, but I couldn't tell you where.
Okay.
But I could get that information for you. Yes.
Let's follow up on that.
Okay. Well, thank you for the update, Seth. We've got to move the agenda along. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, I look forward to doing it again. And thanks for letting us go second, so we got to hear all the things that you're doing. It was a good summary. Thanks all.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Erica Lautenbach from the Whatcom County Health Department. She's someone who, more than anyone else, has really been immersed in the COVID-19 response this year and the recovery in our county for over a year. Erica, we're hoping you can tell us how the past year has impacted the department and your role. And we'd also like to hear your thoughts about where we are now and what we can expect over the next several months as far as relaxing of restrictions as more people are vaccinated, et cetera.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. I wanted just a couple of indulgences. Skip is my friend, and his spicy beef jerky is so good. If you have not had it, it's delicious and it's fun to see you, Skip. And also, one of the questions that I saw in the chat box, I just want to acknowledge, someone asked if someone could figure out a way to block the harassers' messages from the mayor's phone. And I think one of the hard lessons I've learned, and I know a lot of us in public roles face is just how we can be viewed as unfeeling robots. And these are hard roles. And I appreciate your sharing what you've been experiencing today. And I know that it weighs heavily on all of us. So I want to, there's so much I could tell you, and I feel like so much of it is to rehash a bad year that we've had. So I kind of don't want to focus on all of the things in the last year that were hard and challenging, because you all know them all too well. But there's a few things that I want to highlight, especially as it relates to businesses, that I'm proud of, that I'm excited about, and then just kind of thinking about moving forward too. So very early in the response, when the stay home, so I started my job on March 18th. I'm almost at my 1-year anniversary of being in this role. And within a week, the stay home, stay healthy order was in place, as you all remember. And we quickly recognized that the economic impacts of both that and what would become a very long year were going to be really intense. And we tried to look as a health department at the kinds of things that we could do to help offset some of the impacts. And as you all know, the health department includes restaurant inspections of bars and nightclubs. And we approached our health board and asked that all of the fees associated with restaurants, bars, and nightclubs be extended for a period of time as they were closed. So those businesses would not be continuing to pay fees and permits and all of those kinds of things associated with being open when they couldn't operate and our staff were not on site or expending resources. And the health board really jumped on that and wanted to think about other ways that we could support businesses. And our public health advisory board and our health board and the health department worked together to establish that employer support task force. And it's so fun to see Jennifer on this, because I consider you a friend now, and I had never met you before. The work that we did together, both on the employer support task force, with Safer Stronger Together, and we still meet every other week with all the chambers and the downtown associations. And then having a dedicated, and I think he's actually in this meeting, many of you probably know Darren Klein, because you've probably called him with a question or two about, okay, we're in this phase, what do I do? What does this mean? And he's a dedicated staff person at the health department just to help and answer questions. And we also have a business response team that has worked, actually, I just learned this statistic. We've worked with over 1,300 businesses, in unique businesses in Whatcom County, to help, whether it was an employee with a case, whether it was questions, whether it was an outbreak or other issues that they had. We've worked with so many businesses, and it's created these really wonderful partnerships, and hopefully a change of perception about the health department from an agency to be feared as a regulator to an agency that's really a partner and really trying to help work through all of these really difficult, no good answer kind of issues that we're facing together. So moving forward, I'm going to stop with the retrospective, because I think moving forward is far more fun to talk about. And there's a couple of things that I'm really excited about that I want to share. First, phase 3 is going to happen next Monday. I was part of a statewide work group that helped establish the metrics and the requirements moving forward. And I'm happy with the way there's a lot of flexibility, and it creates a much higher threshold for case rates than the previous. That was really, really hard for us to achieve. I think this is much more balanced with what we can achieve even as we're reopening. So I'm excited about that, and excited for our businesses that are either going to be opening for the first time in many months or going to be expanding what they're doing. And I'm excited about what we're starting to see with vaccine. We know that vaccine is such an important pathway to reopening and a return to normalcy. And our health department has partnered with 7 other providers, including, I think actually it might be 8 now, with Peace Health and CMAR, Unity Care, Family Care Network, Bellingham Technical College, Whatcom Community College, and Hoagland's Pharmacy. And we're all going in together to create a surge vaccine clinic at BTC, so we can make sure that when the vaccine shows up, we are ready. We have people available. We have systems in place so people can get vaccinated as soon as possible. And working with our chambers and our downtown partnership in a variety of areas around Whatcom County to help encourage businesses to have conversations with employees about vaccine and making sure that that we can move forward, because there is a lot of conversation about some of the metrics in our continued roadmap to recovery being not just linked to case rates and hospitalizations, but also the percentage of residents that are vaccinated. So there is a direct connection between our economic viability and our ability to make sure that people are getting the vaccine. And then the third thing that I'm excited about and feeling hopeful for is the work that we're doing around recovery. Our Public Health Advisory Board soon will be creating a series of convenings with our nonprofit providers, with our partners and others that have information and data and anecdotes and an understanding of what's happening in our community and what impacts COVID has had on our families and our businesses and individuals. And we're going to work in collaboration with our regional economic partnership and our associations and chambers in order to help glean what's happening from the business community, because there's lots of links. We know that economic recovery and health recovery, behavioral health recovery, social and emotional recovery, it's all going to take us all working together. And the first step is really understanding what has changed, what was bad before that has gotten worse, what was in an okay position that is now not good, and what has maybe improved because we've had CARES Act dollars and other funding sources to help improve those areas. So we're going to conduct a COVID impact assessment over the next few months in partnership with lots of different organizations around the county. We know that that they are the best storytellers and data sharers of what their experience has been serving people in our community. And I look forward to hearing from the businesses that are in this meeting about what your experience has been and what your employees' experience has been associated with COVID, and then really defining how we move together in terms of recovery as a community. And I'm hopeful that this has changed us to feel more of a collaborative, collective spirit, to make more sacrifices, to put aside competition, to improve the state for everyone. And I'm looking forward to this work. And I see all of these things as a pathway for a recovery that looks different and better than what we had before COVID for our community. So I'm going to stop there, but just really glad to join you all this afternoon.
Well, thank you, Erica. I had a list of questions for you, but you, and I mean this sincerely, you did such a thorough job. You answered them all and more. We all, I just want to say also, we all really appreciate the work that you've done in this past year for the entire community. And I'm on the same page with you. I think return to normal, I like to think of it now is we're going to return to better is kind of the phrase I'm using for it. So I share your optimism. So thank you again. Our next guest is Skip Williamson from Carnal, which opened last year, a new restaurant on State Street. Skip, thank you for coming. I'm going to have Jennifer, you want to let everyone else know a bit more about how you connected with Skip and maybe introduce him, please.
Absolutely. And Erica, I agree. The friendship, the bonds that have been created through this horrible thing have just been unreal, but these new relationships are just amazing. So we have Skip Williamson and James Zamory. They opened Carnal during the pandemic. They renovated a historic building, did a redesign, adapted. They've opened 3 businesses, which I'll let them explain during this. And I would love to also know, maybe they could tell us a little bit about their business and why they chose downtown Bellingham. I've been really lucky to work with these guys for going on almost 2 years. I've never tasted food that good in my life. And I'm not just saying that because now we're friends. It's true. So I will introduce Skip and James and let them take it from here. Hi, guys.
Hi, thanks for having us. We do love downtown. We're really happy to be here. It has been a crazy year for sure. A little backstory is we bought the old Up and Up building on State and Holly when the previous owner shut down the business and put the building up for sale. We started the remodel last January, got shut down in March, picked it back up and finally finished in September and opened the restaurant then. And I grew up in Gig Harbor, lived in LA for a bunch of years, moved back up here 4 years ago, and then met these 3 guys. One of them is James, 3 great chefs from New York City that came out to Bellingham for a visit and fell in love with it. And now the 4 of us are partners with another kind of minor partner named Eric Jackson, who is kind of a living legend snowboarder here in town that plays a bigger part in one of our 3rd business, which is a jerky business that James can talk more about. But yeah, we opened up and it's been crazy. We kind of got some momentum going in September and October. Then we had to kind of do basically a shutdown in November through this last 25% opening. But the good news is people really embraced us, seem to love it. And now we're looking forward to the 50% occupancy that's coming up here. And just super enthusiastic about downtown in general. Like the mayor was saying, I really truly believe, just kind of having lived in a lot of different places over the years, that Bellingham is next as far as really becoming a destination that people are going to fall in love with more and more. And I think a lot of people are going to move here, and that's obviously a blessing and a curse. But I think there's a lot of great opportunity for downtown to, have more people live downtown and more businesses open up and make it super welcoming for everyone. And we're trying to kind of play a part in that by opening a restaurant. And now we open up a burger spot next door called Comrade. And then during our shutdown in November, we started a beef jerky line that we now have available at Wander Brewing and some other places around town. That's been a lot of fun too. But I'll let James talk a little bit more about the restaurant in particular and kind of our menu and our roadmap ahead as we get ready for summer and all the kind of fun stuff that we have planned.
Yeah, it's been challenging is an understatement because we don't know exactly what we can serve or who we can serve it to or how we can serve it. People aren't allowed inside. Are people going to order it to go? What boxes do we use? How do we shorten the menu to make sense with the basically non-existent budget we have? There are so many factors working against us, which normally exist in any kind of restaurant when you're opening. But then you throw this on top of it, and every single day, you have no choice but to adapt and figure out exactly what you're going to do just for that day. Next week, forget it. We don't even know. We have no idea what that looks like. There's no path, and we have to sit here and talk together and figure out. Many times, just staring at each other in complete silence, because we have no idea what to do. So I'd love to think that because we're on the cusp of coming out of this stronger, I'd love to think that this just made us better as partners, and the business will be stronger because of it. So I don't this kind of emotion and this kind of uncertainty. None of us on this call have probably ever faced anything like it before. So if it's collectively, if the downtown area gets through it, it's going to be awesome, and we're going to come out in an amazing place as the anchors of what this is capable of. So like you said, we have 3 things. Carnal's the main one. Basically wood-fired meat and vegetables that are dictated by the season, cooked over a hearth grill that we had custom made. Just a lot of fun flavors, just and approachable stuff. Basically comfort food, but with our kind of fine dining-ish technique on it. But again, it's meant to be approachable. It's meant to be fun, really vibrant space. Hopefully when we get really get settled, the menu will change, and it should be exciting food that you never know exactly what you're going to get, but you should enjoy it, like you know, Jennifer has many times before. Comrade is basically, we didn't even know what to do with that space. We had thought that it was going to be a retail space. You know, maybe we'll bring someone in who can rent it out, and then it just, you know, when the shutdown came, it's like we have everyone's pivoting towards this takeout thing, so why don't we try it? And it's like, you know, I remember drawing a counter up on with a Sharpie on a blank piece of paper, and it's like now all of a sudden there's a counter there, and it's like, okay, now we're operating Comrade out of the Carnal Kitchen, so it's weird, but we're doing whatever we can do. You know, like we had a custom steel plate that fits on top of our stove that we can sear burgers on. You know, so we're trying, just being resourceful is just like the only way to really survive, and just trying to push through and not let the emotions get the best of you. And then the third one is obviously, as you said, the jerky, which is just it's been not, you know, nothing that I've ever done before in the packaged thing, you know, coming from fine dining New York City restaurants, but it's awesome. It's been incredible to see the response to it, because we put so much work into it. We definitely don't make it easy on ourselves with the process. When you taste it, hopefully you can taste how much thought and energy goes into it. No sugar in it. It's just a lot of deeply caramelized roasted flavors that, you know, you can find at the restaurant. But now they're in this little pouch, and it's really, really exciting that we dialed in this process, and we can kind of take that creatively anywhere. You can apply so many different flavors to it. So we're just trying to figure out how to scale it, how to move forward incrementally, which obviously requires money that we don't necessarily have. But it's all coming together, and it's really awesome. All three of those things, which just kind of were floating in this void of uncertainty, are now kind of, you know, sharpening themselves, and I think the potential is limitless. So it's going to be a lot of fun when we finally don't have to worry about what the next day brings, and be just left in the dark, basically, is what the pandemic did for us. So definitely excited.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of sums it up. We're excited for the future, and if you haven't been down here, come check it out. We'd love to see you. And thanks again for inviting us, Jennifer. Jennifer's been our biggest champion, and we're eternally grateful for kind of helping us, holding our hand, giving us pep talks when we needed it. And here we are standing, ready for the next day.
Yeah, Jennifer, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Skip and James. And thank you truly for having faith in Bellingham and opening in downtown, and bringing in your energy and vision and creativity. I think I speak for all of us. We're glad you're here and part of our neighborhood. In closing, I want to thank all of our guests and everyone who showed up for this meeting. This is a first for us. We're not sure how the next one will go, if it'll be live and in person, or if we'll go with the webinar format. That's to be determined. And I also want to just say one last thing, that back to kind of on the comment that Erica made. I'm a silver lining, look on the bright side type of person, and I always start off all of our board meetings with looking for something, bring something positive to talk about. And that's what I've seen through this, is just looking back and thinking back. And I've had a lot of time to think back this year, a lot of alone time, to how resilient and creative this community is in facing the challenges that we've had to face. That's totally unknown, that nobody could have predicted. Nobody thought what that was going to mean to their business, to their lives. And it fills me with optimism, because I see the recovery as an opportunity, as I said, to move beyond this back to normal idea, and kind of get away from that scary part of the future and move forward into that, and instead of returning to normal, just like I said before, moving to better, build something better. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and I know the partnership is to build a better future for our downtown. So thank you. And if any of you, I'm not sure, one of the staff can talk. I think all the questions, there were questions that were texted into us here on the webinar. Those will be forwarded on to the appropriate person to answer them, and we'll do our best to get back to you with that. If you have any questions in the meantime for the partnership, feel free to reach out on social media or directly through an email at info@downtownbellingham.com. And then I'm going to end this meeting with a little music from Pace Rubidoux, who is, I'm excited to say, he's going to be helping us create a busking program for our upcoming First Fridays. So thank you, everybody, and take it away, Pace.
Thanks so much for having me. My name is Pace. I'm really honored to be here and be your closing soundtrack for this meeting. It's been really inspiring just listening to the way people have adapted, which is what Bellingham does best, I think. About a year ago on March 16th this evening, I went out to the parking lot across the street from my house and did a little serenade for the neighborhood. And long story short, that turned into 68 days of concerts, just kind of feeling the therapy with everybody from afar, coming by on their bikes and listening with families, and it's been really beautiful. And I look forward to the anniversary concert tonight around 7:15 p.m. If you happen to be in the neighborhood, thank you. There's a map up there. And I'm excited about the collaboration with Allied Arts and Downtown Bellingham Partnership. Many more exciting news to come on that, so just stay tuned to their social media and various websites. And I know that the meeting is about over now, so I'll just say thanks for having me, and I'll leave you guys with a little tune I like to play to remember that there's a wonderful world out there that we're all going to get back to soon, and we'll be stronger together for the experience that we had. So thank you guys so much. Take care and stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.